Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon from Salatiga, from Faculty of Language and Arts, Universitas Kristen Satyawacana. My name is Ardian Sukurniawan, and I will be the moderator for this webinar series 2020. And we are very excited to have you as our participants in our webinar series 2020. Before we start, I would like to uh, show you several points related to this webinar series 20 and 2020. First of all, this session will be recorded and you can watch this recorded session from our YouTube, and we would like to provide the link later after we end this session. And then for all the participants, feel free to interact with your colleagues through the group chat provided at Zoom. And you may address questions to the speaker through the same feature, which is the group chat. And also, last but not least, the certificate of this webinar will be generated automatically from the exit ticket provided later at the end of the session. Previously, when all the participants just did the registration, somehow the most common problem faced by the participants were just like mistyping their names or email addresses. Therefore, we would like to provide another exit ticket later at the end of the session. So make sure that you fill in the forms appropriately and accordingly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite our speaker, Dr. Eunice Sari, who will talk about language and design. Do they go together? Language and design are two different worlds, but are they related to each other? In this webinar, Dr. Eunice Sari will share her experiences working in both worlds for the past 20 years. And Dr. Eunice Sari is one of the alumni of Universitas Kristen Satyawacana. She is the CEO and co-founder of UX Indonesia, the first insight-driven UX research, training, and consulting company based in Indonesia since 2022, and the co-founder of and customer experience insight. And she has more than 15 years of experience in academics and industries. She has helped a lot of organizations to accelerate their digital transformation, as well as to pioneer innovative UX projects that affect changes in lives and improve the bottom line of businesses in USA, Europe, Australia, and Asia. Her works have brought her to the next level as the first Asian female Google developer expert in product design and strategy, and the first Asian female Google certified design sprint master. Dr. Eunice Sari has been active in academic as a researcher as well as a lecturer. She teaches UX, information design, and educational technology in a number of universities in Indonesia and Australia. In 2018, she has been appointed as the Honorary University Fellow at the Charles Darwin University in Australia. Without further ado, Dr. Eunice Sari, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for kind introduction from Adiaso. Yeah, it is a privilege for me to be here and talk with all of you. So today I just want to share my experience like as an alumni of Satyawacana Christian University, especially JPPS. It was called JPPS before. And and what I'm doing at the moment, because a lot of people like asking me a lot of questions like, what are you doing? Like, why don't you become a teacher? Why don't you become why don't you have your own house of teaching and learning or tuition or something like that? So and they don't understand. So I think I'm going to share with you my journey for the last 20 years. I graduated in 2001. Yeah, I'll share with you in more details shortly. So if you have any question, feel free just to write down on the chat forum, and I would like to have this presentation very interactive. Ask questions as many as possible, and yeah, so hopefully we can have a good conversation. So first, I don't want to talk more about it because it's going to be things that I'm going to talk about more. But as I finish my my university at GPBS in 2001, so this is here. So I've been traveling around the world, and I've been staying in many places, like in Germany, in Finland, in Denmark. Well, in Japan, that was before I graduated, and then right now I've been in Australia for over 10 years. So I'm going to talk more about that, but this is a really exciting journey, especially that the people think, okay, well, perhaps you are doing your with your study, you are teaching now English as a second language or teaching Indonesian. Yeah, well, partly it's right, but it is not completely right. So this is what I'm doing right now. Like just a quick introduction. Ardiaso has kindly introduced me. Like I'm the CEO and co-founder of UX Indonesia, as well as the co-founder of Customer Experience Insight. So this company started in 2002. So basically, we are doing a lot of training, a lot of consulting, and a lot of certification and research, but not in the field of education, but in the field of UX. So don't worry if you don't understand what UX is, because it's a different thing than what I learned before at Satya. So so my company has been doing quite well. So we have, like we have over hundreds of projects completed since 2004. And then we have certified a lot of UX professionals, and they are employed in the big organizations. We got over 10,000 trainings hours delivered, and we got over 1,500 plus professional trained and certified. So this is some of the clients that I've been working with, and some of them, like you probably know, like if you use the application Grab, so they're my very early clients when they haven't started their a lot of work in UX especially. And this is like one of the product that we have helped closely to be born, like the Grab now. I think how many of you have been using Grab now? So maybe you can write your chat or type something. And then the other thing that we also doing is like one of the highlight is the Spotify. If you use Spotify music, and this is like a specifically called Spotify Lite. This is like a special app for the developing or emerging economy country, where the music is for free. You can control your data, you discover new music, and you can actually save your memory as well. So these two are some of many examples of the work that we have been doing in UX. And well, I was privileged, like on my birthday, like I met Pak Jokowi, and then give him like the unicorn as the our mascot for the company. And beside working in UX Indonesia, at the moment, I'm also the vice president for the ACMC Kai. So this is like the biggest organization, vice president in chapter for the association. Association of Computing Machinery, a special interest group in computer-human interaction. So this work actually helped me a lot uh, organ, uh, to organize chapters in a lot of countries, and then helping them actually to grow, to get awareness, to learn more about the importance of interaction between human and computer. And uh, then the other thing Abdi also mentioned, I don't really, while I'm working a lot in the industry, I don't really leave the industry so much because I'm still doing a lot of research. That's why this is one of the work that we are doing with the Charles Darwin University. So if you are here, you can probably see Toar, you probably know the person here is Joyce. So it's actually get connected again, through the work that we are doing. And I'm very surprised that many of our alumni actually working on a similar area that's coming across what I'm actually doing. So yeah, so I just want to before I talk more about UX, this is sounds like okay, what kind of food or thing, what is UX? So UX stands for user experience. So in Indonesia, it's called pengalaman pengguna. So what is UX actually? So there are a lot of definitions of UX, but we as a company look at all different definition, and then our co-founder he made this new, definition that cover a lot of things. Is actually user relationship with a brand over a period of time. So, for example, you are using Grab, right? The product. So, it is your relationship with the product, with the brand of Grab over a period of time. The the relationship can be like a very short once you are using applying for code, for example, to get a discount, or you order like a Grab food, and the interaction might be only 1 hour or 2 hours until your food come back, and then you got another um, another points that you can use next one when you make another purchase. But that is like a very small interaction. It can be that as small as like a 1 minute, you buy like a credit, for example. It can also be a long over a period of time. So for example, if you use the Grab food, for example, every day, so that is the your relationship with the brand over a period of time. So with the user experience, so actually you are looking in detail your relationship, the user relationship with the brand. How is the experience of the users when they apply the code, when they order food, when they search for a food, when they pay. Everything is being mapped, everything is being studied in the user experience. And depending on how you design the product, it's not just you design, oh, this is a really nice app. Yeah, everything has a lot of thought behind the scene, when you design an app, for example. I just give an example of a Grab app. So it's coming from the business thing, it's coming from the social, cultural, it can be from anything. We're going to discuss that more. So sometimes people confuse between UX and UI. UI stands for user interface. So with the user interface, it's actually as its name. You're talking about the interface of the product that the user interact with the brand through their senses, right? So we have it's not just like the screen that you look at, but it also can be different thing with the face-to-face interaction. For example, there is a case study here, ordering food. So when you order food, when you order food in a restaurant, the first things that your senses look is your eyes. You look at the menu, right? And then you hear, for example, the location, people talking on the tables, or like the owners, like ordering food, cooking, asking the people at the back. So a lot of voices, a lot of sounds actually being you can hear. And then the next one, the things that you touch is your menu, right? And then the smell is the smell of the food, smell of the place where you have the food. And it's like it's something like the food itself. So it can be like the food that you taste, right? But if you are using app, it's very different. You are not looking at the menu, the paper menu, but you look at your phone. You look at the phone. You hear the sounds, the voices of people where you are actually using your phone. So, for example, you are ordering in your boarding house, and then like you can hear people around you like talking and then making a lot of noises, or you don't hear anything. It's okay. And then what you touch is your touch screen and your mobile phone. That's something that you touch with your hand. And then the smell is, of course, the smell of the place where you actually using your mobile phone. So, the interaction with the brand can happen direct or indirect, right? Direct, like you are looking at the chef preparing the food, and then indirect, you are using the app. So this is something what you call as user interface. And then when you are talking about the user interface, you are actually, okay, um, we sometimes when you're talking about UX, you only focus on this one, but it is not. UX is UI is actually part of UX, and UX is a very big one. Okay, next. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay. Can you see now? Okay. Now,
Yes, we,
yeah. Okay. Can you see my slide?
yes.
Okay. Good. Okay, so this is the user interface when you order food, when you pay, you order, and you even like a posting in the social media in the restaurant. So when we talk about UX, right, we're not talking about the user interface. That's about the design that you are talking about. We are also talk about the technology. We are also talk about the business. Why we are making this one? Why should we sell this product? And then we also talking about the social cultural as well, like why we created this kind of app in Indonesia. So for example, why Spotify use UX Indonesia to create an app for Indonesian people. So this is a lot of a social cultural aspect that was being considered here. And then when you do UX research, that's what we are doing as well. We are doing research in design, we are doing research in technology, we are doing research in market research, and we are also doing research in social cultural aspect as well. So So this is like a basically what I'm doing on day-to-day basis. Like we got a project, and then we develop the idea. And then when we develop the idea, we also consult with the users. We do a lot of user research, UX research several times. And then we develop the prototypes. We release the product. And then if something not good, then we do again, like it's the process of a conception or maybe prototypes, and then we release the product, And then if there is something that we need to fix, then we fix. So my work is actually like this. So I'm doing a lot of user research. Okay, second, I got too many things open here. Okay, so I'm doing a research as well as the design of the prototype, and then like both of them like a combined. So I'm doing what is called as a UX design research, or you doing both design as well as doing research. So what do I do every day? So this is like just a very standard thing that I'm doing. Like I work with a lot of stakeholders, designer, business analyst, the project manager to define the needs of the products and services, doing ethnography research, doing a lot of design survey, doing a lot of evaluation of the product through usability testing, doing a lot of product evaluation, mapping, synthesizing the data, doing a lot of a design workshop, mapping the journey of the user, create a persona, and then of course, creating a prototype. And there are a lot of things that I have to learn. So these are some of the things that I learned as a UX design researcher. So this is all about communication, about research, about statistics, about methodology, and all the stuff. Um, so that sounds a lot, right? Like, what have I done before? Like, did I do some study on this before? So I'm just like go back a little bit from my UX story. So I just want to tell you my personal story. So before I came to GPPS, like when I was a little girl, I got the dream of being a doctor and a tech designer of innovator. But that at that time it was quite difficult because like being a doctor means that I have to, like study very long, like being a doctor, and then it's like a take forever, like for you to study and then practice. And then to be a tech designer or innovator for those who are in the same years as myself, like or maybe older or maybe around the same time, like when we did the study at GPPS, like how many girls, like for example, at faculty of electro or even computer science, like it's not very common, like for a girl to do this. And so I had a lot of thought before, like what do I want to do? So actually, like I decided to become a teacher. Why? And especially I want to teach English because I'm really excited like about the possibility of being able to meet a lot of people, to build my, basically I forget my dream, like so I would focus on learning about English, like many of you here. And hopefully I was hoping that one day I can go abroad and I meet more people teaching English. And yeah, so I think a lot of our friends' dream is like that too. Yeah, but I had one my time in like in South Africa actually changed my life a lot, right? So this place, like if you like to go to Pachalmadia, and also like I meet like some of my best friends here. Uh, you know them all, and also, and I was like when I was at GPPS, I had a really good time. I learned a lot because I feel that okay, well, this is what I can do right now. This is my chance, and I want to do the best I can do. So during my time at the GPPS or English department, so I had the opportunity to go to Japan. So I'm going to shortly talk about that. And then after that, I had the opportunity to study in many other places. So this is what happened, like when I was doing my study in Japan, because in the beginning, my main idea was to be an English teacher. So when I was in Japan, I had the opportunity to help like a professor, like to teach English. And I found it, oh, well, this is cool, like because I could uh, teach a lot of the Japanese students who are keen to learn English. And then I found it really interesting, like when I, at that time, it was a computer was quite new. Not many people have a mobile phone. Some of the Japanese, they have a Keitai Denwa. And this professor have a really cool idea of using MIRC, like for teaching English. And the students who were really shy in the beginning, like they, okay, uh, let's start to speak English, like not face to face, but through the chat, the instant messaging. Maybe now we think, that's what is instant messaging? It's nothing, you know. But at that time, it was a very special, like because people do not really do instant messaging so much. So after helping this professor for a couple of months, I see that there are a lot of the students actually have improved their English. And then that was like, wow, that's very interesting. Like I started to grow my interest in, and I said, oh, well, even though I'm a teacher, I can learn more about technology. I can use technology actually for teaching. And I started to take courses and then, for example, ESD English for technology. And then also I do my own study and I started to grow my interest in studying people. Because before I was just focused on getting my knowledge and getting my skill to get the best mark for IC, reading, writing, and things like that. But then in the last years of my study, I ceased my interest. Like, okay, I started to enjoy things like psycholinguistic, social linguistic, cross-cultural understanding, and all these things. Like, just want to learn why these people can learn something, why these people um, can grow their interest in doing stuff. And I found that doing a research is like somehow my passion. And I would just want to do something related to that. Like I did a lot of teaching, but I was like, oh, this is so hard. I was like, I'm probably not the best like a classroom teachers or something like that. But when I'm doing research, I feel that it is myself. So uh, so then like after that, like after I finished my study in 2000, so I started to look for ways to um, to expand my knowledge because there was a stigma in Indonesia that if you are doing language, that's just language. Your horizon of doing computer science, your horizon of doing design is suddenly closed. So I found like a university back then in Denmark, and they give me a scholarship to study in Denmark. So basically, when I was in Denmark, like it is an interdisciplinary study, which is now starting to be very popular. When people actually can bring their own things. So, for example, me bringing my background in education, in language, and some other people they are from the social science. Some other people from computer science. They got together and they try to solve problems. So this is like one of the things that I was doing. This is the project that I did with IBM in Denmark. So basically, at that time, it did happen in Rheinberg in Germany. So basically, trying to understand like how the users actually interact with the new technology, which is the smart shopping cart and then a smart weigh scale and something like that, and self check counter, which is not new at the moment, but in early 2000 that was quite new. And yeah, so that's something that was quite interesting. So what did I do actually I went to different supermarket and did a attachment or internship there. So for a certain period of time. So I was there, I became the person who actually working in the supermarket. Now trying to understand the journey of the people when they come into the supermarket, and then like how they purchase things, like what they purchase, what time, and then also like learning from the people in the supermarket, how they put stuff, how they manage stuff, how they do a lot of things behind the scene. And, and even like how they create stuff, how they put all this calculation, the finance and everything to create a very good experience for the people when they come to the supermarket. So that was a really good experience. So actually like now this area called service design, and I started this work actually even before they coined the word of service design. So yeah, that was my time in Denmark, and I starting to feel like a more comfortable in this cross section between the language as well as the design and technology, because I believe there is a connection on this one. So when I did, after Denmark, I got the opportunity to do some research in Finland. But after that, I got another scholarship to do PhD research in Australia. So when I was in Australia, I was really, really excited because this is like my my big mountain, my big challenge, because people do not believe that they can use user experience into the education world. So I did my research on how to use UX design research to develop the online learning community for teachers across Indonesia to do professional development online. So that was in early 2008, and people said like, well, you're doing impossible stuff, like nobody is going to finish your PhD. Well, I did finish my PhD in 3.5 years, and I received a lot of awards of what I'm doing because it was considered as innovative at that time. Nobody even think that they can use Skype or Facebook for professional development. So I'm done. I thought that I'm done. I'm happy because I was able to use the design research, like where I involve the users, getting the feedback in iteratively, like to develop the new design. But then I realized that was just the beginning. So I don't even start my work yet, because uh, just just finishing your PhD doesn't mean that you finish your work. It's just the beginning. So uh, that was my journey. So I started to think like I I started my company back in 2002, but then people do not understand what are you doing. Like we try to make people understand, but then nobody really understand that. Like what is UX? What is human computer interaction? Even though the idea is very popular back then in US or in Europe. So I do a lot of education of the people, joining a lot of communities, and then contributing to the community. And then so I've been privileged to start like after I graduate, like to be part of this Google Developer Expert. Um, then Google Mentor, it's like basically helping a lot of startups. Tech companies around the world that Google has chosen to grow their product and services. So there are a lot of things that I do, talking to a lot of people, talking with the over, yeah, within 2 years, like a mentoring over 150 startups, and then talking to many events around the world, basically like teaching them about user experience. But that's just my side community project. And this is like a, you see here, this is in San Francisco in Android Park. And yeah, so one thing that I was doing, like to get me to understand and get my hold on the community is to contribute to the community. I mentored people because when I was mentoring people, I was able to learn myself, and also like I write papers, I write a lot of publication, get a lot of feedbacks, and that actually helped me and actually started to organize events like this. Before there was no online, but then starting to organize event like this actually helped me to make people starting to realize, okay, what is it like, what are you doing like, and then I was able to explain, and then like they said, yeah, I can see like how my life as a language specialist actually can, you know, come across technology. So I got my Master of Science in IT Product Design. It's like whoever thought that I'm the language person doing all this translation, got this IT background, or got this you know, like work on this IT related fields very extensively. And and then when I started my company, so this is things that I taught my staff, and as well as myself. It's actually my things, um, what what I learned along the way that I feel that I have to pass to other people. It's about integrity, like how we uh, how we actually do the right thing, like work honestly, consistently, and trustworthy. And then it's like a loyalty, like how we can own what we are doing, and then faithfully like doing that one. Then also great, like work with patience and perseverance. And then lifelong learning, it's like a continuously learning. I never, you know, like without learn I would not be able to understand what UX is. Like if I just doing the same thing, like how do I open my mind? And then in UX, one of the biggest thing is humility. In the UX project, as I showed you before, every time you develop something, you have to ask the user back, and that is like the thing that the humility of receiving other people feedback. It is really important, and agility, being able to work really fast, uh, learning from the mistakes, and improvement, continuously improve, learn from the mistake, and continuous improve. And a client focus, of course, is a user centered, and a be a leader. It's not afraid of making a different thing. And then the innovation, they are to be different. So this is some of the tips that become the value of my company, that actually have inspired me for doing all the work that I'm doing for the last 20 years. So now I'm going back and forth again, right? Like now how I what you know what I'm doing every day, and then you know like the reason and the background, and what is actually language and design, like what, how it is related, how it is connected with what I have learned before. So you know the UX process I showed you before, and then like what do I produce and how is it related to what I studied at the English department before. So I found this one, like I don't show you my mark because well, some of them are not really good. And so this is the things that I've been learning at English department. In my company, I do a lot of training, right? So how is training related to the work that we are doing at the GPPS or English department? So a lot of things I did not realize. So when I was in GPPS, I learned about how to develop the curriculum, how I actually can teach people. Of course, like we're learning about language education. All these things, like that island, it was not by accident. It was really helpful for me to shape my mind, to help me, like how can I develop a curriculum, how I can do things in my training. So that is a direct relationship. So as a UX design researcher, I go to the wild, like I go to whatever places in Indonesia, in remote areas, and even places in overseas as well. So we stay there for some times and then learn about the culture. So how is it relevant? Like when I was a student, well, coming to the basic cultural or nature study was really hard. Like, just be honest, like with many of you, why do I have to learn this? And that is really, actually, really helpful for me, trying to see the connection, like connecting the dots. And then when I was talking to people, I tried to learn how the culture works. What is behind the scene? What is between the lines? Like when people say, I like it, really? Like then you have to see like how they're actually doing things. Like because when we actually see they are doing things, they don't really like it. And some of the culture, like when they say, yes, I will do that, perhaps I will do that, it's not true. Like because people just don't want to make you very upset. So this thing actually helps me to bridge the gap between a lot of researchers. So, for example, researchers from Google, researchers from Spotify, when they are in Indonesia, like this is something. If you do, like a interview on observation, sometimes you don't really see. But with what I have learned at the English department, actually really helped me to to be more, like a bit more specific, to be more detailed, to get to be able to read between the lines. So I always remember, like um, Ibu Ika, she always said to me, read between the lines. So read between the lines, read between the lines. So that is like the really key skill that I learned when I was doing the translation, when I was doing uh, all this also like Ibu K, for example. She always say, oh, you don't just like believe on what people say. So you really need to go beyond that, like looking at the non-verbal, the verbal communication. So really, really interesting. Like this is actually my favorite part of my work. It's doing the ethnography research, but I don't really do it like a coming to like a, so for example here in like outside there in near was it Irian Jaya, and but now we have to do it online, so we have to talk with the people in the remote areas like online through Zoom. Still like this is another challenge, but again, all the basic things that I learned through English department was never like a something by accident. It was like it was, it happens because of, like yeah, it was meant to be. And this is like what I'm doing as well. So after getting the data from the users, like I have to map the journey, like the people, like when they wake up, when they go to the market, when they go to the field, what do they do? So again, like all these aspect, the same aspect, like trying to understand the people, read between the lines is also something that we applied so much as well here. And things that I was doing is like, why do I have to do all this research? Because we are doing all this research because we want to develop a product, a service that people love, that people can use, that can solve their problems. So before we start anything, we also like create what is called persona. So persona is created based on the research. So what kind of skill I use here? So I use a lot of my, of course, my English skill, like IC, writing or reading, and then also actually like a skill like a writing of prose, because if you cannot make a good storytelling, people would not build the empathy. You know, like we're talking about like building empathy is the key when you try to understand the need of the users. Not just that, like you create something, you need to work with so many people. Like as I said before, like okay, so who is actually involved? Like in my case in Scandinavia before when I was working, what is this people, the shopkeeper doing at the back? What is this? What they're doing at the front, and what are they doing in the middle when they are meeting the customer or when they are dealing with other people? So same with here, like I will have to deal with the government, we got to deal with agency, we got to deal with the CEO, we got to deal with the farmers, we got to deal with everybody. So speaking, public relation, like you cannot lie, you have to communicate well in writing, in verbally as well. So these are all the things that I have learned when I was in GPBS or English department. In making sure that all these stakeholders they are agree with what you're doing, and then okay, what else then? Like we have to design now. What do we have to do? So again, this is a communication. You need to learn from each other, creating ideas. Okay, now what sort of concept we need to develop, how we develop it, what it looks like. There are a lot of the people who has their need. For example, people in the design, they would say, oh, I want this look, I want this interaction. But the business said, no, 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 I don't want this kind of interaction because it will cost a lot of money for us. How you can actually orchestrate like the communication between amongst the stakeholders, among different people when they need to design something, right? Like not just like a preparing for the project, but now it's just the design. I use a lot of drama. You know, don't be mistaken. So I use a lot of drama. How do I use drama actually, like in my work? So we do what is called in UX is called body storming. So basically, or maybe creating a scenario or drama. So when you create a scenario or doing a drama, try to acting it out, you started to realize, oh, is it like a good concept or is it not? Oh, well, for example, we used to have some people like trying to develop something from the TV. Okay, so what do I have to give to you? So basically, someone like creating a cardboard in a form of TV, and then when they are giving something, giving information, how this person look at it and receive the information. So then they started to all these problems started to be revealed like during this process, and then they go back again on the drawing table and starting to fix. Okay, well, it doesn't work. The people, the drama, the body storming actually was being done with the real user. So you actually know and get the real um, feedback from the users, like how they are doing what they are doing. And sometimes we do songs as well and trying to understand what is the perception of the users, like listening to this song, understanding this kind of this piece of writing. So it's really useful, all this aspect. Usability testing. Once the product is not finished, but it's ready, like at the concept, either in form of the paper concept or in the form of clickable prototype on your mobile phone. So basically, there are so many aspects that I use from the language point of view like preparing the guideline, preparing the guide, or doing the test, and creating a like a conversation. You cannot just force people like to do, okay, now go log in and do things. You really need to create a scenario so this person can do things naturally, and then you will be you will find what are the problems that they are facing when they are doing the payment using the QR code, for example, like what kind of problems. And then this is like a way you really need to sit back, observe, listen, and then trying to go beyond what people say, trying to see the semantic of what they're trying to say or do something on the device, as well as what they said. You try to find meaning from beyond what you can see, like just looking at this person confused. No, you need to find all these aspects, and a lot of aspect like testing, even like the area is different. Testing language testing, actually really useful. Like how you can test so people do not know directly that you are testing them. So that is the area. And then creating prototype, as I said before, this is a lot of work. It's not just design work. When you create the writing for the prototype, when you are put some text in it, these are all the aspects of the language. Now the area that is very popular is that we are teaching a lot of people is called UX writing. So you really need to understand, like when you create an app for people in Indonesia or people in US, it has to be a different way how you present it to them. And you really need to understand how people learn. Do people learn by watching video, or do people learn by listening to the music, or what, how, all right? And of course, it's again cross-cultural understanding. Again, it's also learn about translation. When you translate this into Bahasa Indonesia, for example, you have an app from US and then you use it in Indonesia. Should it be a direct translation? You are using Google Translate? No, you really need to know the context. You really need to know how people use it. Like you cannot just straight away using that from the open. In all the project that we do, we have to write a plan, very detailed plan, guideline report. And the plan guideline report usually like it has to be written in 2 languages or even more. And then when you do a interview, you need to transcribe it. All the transcription, it has to be in several languages sometimes. And this has to go into the report. You need to analyze it, like when where you need to apply your abductive, deductive, or inductive thinking. So this all these aspects, like technically writing, technically you can I learn a lot from the English things like reading, writing, and then like how to convey good meaning. You really need to know about semantic, cross-cultural understanding, the language of science and technology. You really need to understand, and how you can, who you should get this report for. Is it for the designer or the business side or the investors or anyone else? So it has to be in different languages. You can't really use only one language to convey the meaning and then pass the result to the users, to or stakeholders. Finally, this is like you are in UX. This is something really popular at the moment. It's a big thing. So basically, creating a design system is a very, very big thing. and basically in the best design system, you got the UI library and also the framework, the process, how you start things. So if you create an application for UX Indonesia or the website for UX Indonesia, there's a design system that you can refer to. So no matter who is actually reading um, your document or developing the project, it will give the same result. So it is not a brand guideline because it has some coding as well inside the design system. And in the design system, you also talk about semantic, you also talk about the tone, what you want to send to the people. And this is all this language. It's just so much thing that you are doing, that I was doing in GPBS becomes more and more relevant every single day. So yeah, so basically what I was going to say here is that why do I do things like because I have the belief that the world is my oyster. I mean, like I need to grab the world, and the world is mine, and I just want to do like what I want to do, and what my dream is. Doesn't really matter like what people say. It's like and of course I need to do research, but it doesn't mean that if it is not common, then it's not there. So because I have a proof uh, things that people say it is impossible, it can happen. In my for the last 20 years. So so this is what I'm always saying. Like hopefully, like my story can inspire you. Like we should not be boxed in the way of our thinking. We should go beyond, like look at the other possibility. If there is no other possibility, create your own possibility. So basically, that's why I jump from one world to another world, but I go back again, jump back to the old world and going back to the new world again. So the benefit is now that I have the two words that I'm holding right now on my hand, and it's really an advantage for me, for myself. Like, okay, now you give a training. I know I got a background in education. I know how to do training well, and then I don't know about design. I don't know about coding. I don't know about technology, but I learn, and and of course like and I try to connect the dots. But actually that's a really important skill that you can like bring you um, to the other side of the world. So I think that's what I want to share to the people. And yeah, so hopefully it's something useful and you got inspired. Thank you. I think you're muted.
Hey, thank you, Ibu Eunice, for. Oh, now how about now? I think I
Okay,
just
okay.
unmute my microphone now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So thank you, Ibu Eunice. So previously, Ibu Eunice just shared, especially the understanding, the concept of UX, the differences between UX and UI, and then dealing with the UX, that we need to understand the journey, the complex relationship, the client. To highlight the important point, which is building the empathy toward the, especially for those, I mean, the people. Okay, Bapak Ibu, now this is the time for us for having question and answer sessions. And actually, Ibu Yunis, in our group, okay, we still have plenty of time. So Bapak Ibu, do not hesitate to ask questions related to the topic. I would like to invite you for the live. First, I noticed that Pak Agus Santoso posted several questions in the Zoom group chat. So I would like to invite Bapak Agus Santoso to address the question. Bapak Agus Santoso, you can unmute your microphone and ask video.
Yeah, I have asked my questions in the chat.
Bapak Agus Santoso. Yes.
I think I have asked my questions in the chat.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, please read.
Oh, I see.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I just want to know
it?
whether language is supporting design, because language is a very important tool or means of communication. So that's the way we express ourselves. So if that's the case, then language can be connected to any other fields. So what do you think? Is that right? Not only to design, but also to other fields, because language is the most important thing in communication where we express ourselves.
By the way, Pak Agus, you are in the very nice area right now, right? I mean,
you're in Japan, accompanying Eunice in Japan.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, just kidding. Bercanda.
Great to see you again, Pak Agus.
Yeah. It's nice to see you, Ibu Eunice.
I was trying to find your pictures, Pak Agus, like when we had this thing in what is it, like in Bandung. Yeah, but that was like it was really good. Well, yes, I think well, language is actually, I mean, like it's very essential thing for every field, because it's just a way of, as you said yourself, it's a way of communication. And so, for example, I'm not talking to other field, but of course, again, like in UX, is very important. Like, how do we understand our users if we don't speak the language? So basically, that's a language. And also, another thing that actually I did not mention before, it's a language, understanding of the local language actually. It's become a boundary of object that actually makes people usually like a more familiar, more open to what actually you ask them to do. For example, when I was in, so for example, when people from Sweden, actually, they come to Indonesia, when they do their research, yes, they got a lot of data. All these answers are, all the questions were answered. But then when it comes to a lot of cross-cultural understanding, like those who speak the local language actually get more, get more insight. So actually, like I was talking with some of the people here, like before, would you like to help me? Like we do a lot of work, language works, and yeah, so because it is really like a big thing, like for UX to not just English. English is one of them, like when you have a lot of clients and have an international project, but Indonesian, like that's why it's not useless that when I learn teaching Indonesian as a foreign language.
Yeah. So it's very important, right? Very important. So are you encouraging us to go to UX then? Are you encouraging everyone to go to UX?
Why not? Why not?
Oh,
yes.
Why not?
Why not? Yes. And I think you'll be really interested, like when you're doing that practice. So I would.
Thank you for the explanation.
Let me know if
some other people might ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Pak Agus Santoso, and to you.
You're welcome.
Just like a small reunion, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, okay.
Oh, by the way, Pak Agus.
Pak Wawan.
Yeah.
Pak Agus, thank you very much for teaching me. So it's good.
Oh. Back then, I was still a kid. I was still a kid, green, but now I'm red.
Okay, yes,
Just
Pak
kidding.
Tuan, I think you'd like to say something, Pak Tuan?
It's actually related to what Pa Agus just said
Mhm.
when he was, I don't know, joking, saying that
Uh-huh.
Ibu Yunis was inviting us all to go to UX. But I just want some confirmation from Ibu Yunis actually. Isn't it like when you talk about US user experience, right? Hey,
Mhm.
first of all, I'm sorry I cannot show you my face, my video.
Why?
Actually, after this,
But I was wondering why there's a picture of Ibu Princess.
Yeah, I want to see like how you look like these days.
you can go to my YouTube. no, no, because after this, I already promised my kids to take them to the swimming pool, and I already wear swimsuit, so that's why no. Okay, anyway.
Come on. Go straight to the question.
Okay, my question is UX is user experience. If we bring that idea to classroom, isn't it about students' experience?
Hmm.
So
I mean,
yes,
can we bring the concepts, the theories in UX in education? So when we teachers design our teaching, we also need to consider user. In our case here is students' experience. What do you think? I think this is my idea. I mean, it is correct or not? I don't know.
yeah. So this is like a aside from the work in the industry. So I'm doing a research called learning experience design. So this learning experience design, and we actually using design thinking 2.0. We are using the user experience like to develop the curriculum, to develop the lesson plan, actually to design our class, not just to develop the like for example in some countries they use the face recognition for tracking the students, and even they can understand, the teachers can understand like the emotion of the students in the classroom, so they can give a mark on that one as well. But the one that I was talking about is more offline, online, using some technology sometimes. Yes, you basically the answer is a big yes. You can use user experience for in teaching and learning, and the area called teaching learning experience design. And if you are interested, tour. Actually, I have a workshop on design thinking 2.0 in the conference called ICCE, which is the conference for using the technology in the teaching and learning in the classroom. And I have a workshop and a tutorial on how to use UX in teaching and learning. So maybe you'll be interested to explore that. Like,
Can you share us the link or the I don't know? Is it online?
yeah. Yeah, it is online. I'll yeah, just send me an email here. I'll send you the links for
Free
the.
or we have to pay some price or?
I don't know, but for me, I have to pay to become a presenter. So I think for you, of course, there's a fee, but not much because they try to make it online, and especially for the tutorial. Maybe you should ask the management to, like a pay for.
Pay for
Yes,
me. Oh, okay. This is my video. Sorry.
that's fine. That's good. You still look the same.
This my background is the new office of Fakultas Bahasa.
Oh wow, that's cool. Is it in building S?
No. We are in the Kartini Street.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
This taken from UKSW website, the 36 Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I think there are other questions for our. Thank you very much, Ibu Eunice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Pak Wawan, I think your internet connection is not.
And Bu Eunice,
Something's wrong with your
question or
internet, Pak
several
Wawan.
questions. Okay. Yeah.
Ya, moderatornya putus-putus, bener Pak Agus.
So the next question is from now. Check how about now?
Yeah, we can clearly, we can hear you clearly now.
Oke,
Ini
saya
sorry.
dari Ibu Neni. Oke, Ibu Nina Setiawati. Ibu Nina Setiawati. Oh, maybe while waiting for Ibu Nina Setiawati. So Ibu Eunice, actually there are 3 questions from Ibu Nina Setiawati. She wrote them down on Zoom group chat. The first one, have you ever designed a UX that doesn't meet the user's need despite having done a user research? That is the first question. The second one, what should be done to overcome such a problem? And the last one, what type of usability testing have you ever conducted? Those 3 questions from Ibu Nina Setiawati. Ibu Eunice.
Okay, thank you, Bunina, about the for the questions. So yes, sometimes you have done a lot of UX research, and it is possible that it's not completely meet the need of the user, or the product is not completely being launched according to the result of the research. There are many factors. It's actually can be from the business side, like they, okay, well, it's too expensive. I don't want to, I don't want to launch this product, or maybe they when they develop the prototype further, like they actually like make a shift that actually does not really follow the real use result of the UX research. Or sometimes like the most problematic one is like because nowadays UX is so popular and it's kind of like a sexy area for a lot of people. A lot of people, they suddenly name themselves as a UX researcher or UX designer or UI designer, and they do a lot of UX research. And then the problem is that they do research not really like a thoroughly, and then they just take things as like a cherry picking the idea, the concept, and that can be really dangerous. Or if another thing that happened is like in my case, the situation is like why it did not happen was because there is a force major. For example, before COVID, we planned A, B, C, D, E based on the UX research that we have done for a certain period of time. But like when we want to start this developing this one, COVID came. And then, okay, now we cannot use the result from the research again for the same product. We really need to do another research or another extension for the research, because now people do not meet again. People do not really need what we have developed because of the force majors. But most of the research that I've been doing, like because we do it properly, it's usually like bring a good conversion. So why do we do research? We want to improve conversion. We want to make people happy. We want to increase adoption of the technology. And usually like I would say like 99% of the research that we are doing is successful. And then we do, people actually come back to us as the repeated client. So that's what happened. And then what should what should we do to overcome such a problem? Yes, okay. Depending on the problems again, like what is the cause of the problem, the root cause. So, for example, if this is the force major, like what we experience, then you really need to go back because the target user is still the same. So you just need to do further research and trying to understand the current situation and adjust it from there. It's quite easy if you do that. Uh, if you do things correctly. But what happened is that in many of our research that we conduct to our clients, usually like it comes from the other agencies was not doing things properly, or sometimes like the internal team, they don't do the research properly. So we have to repeat again, of course, repeat the research and starting everything from zero. And yeah, that's kind of like like a restart the user research again. So there's no other choice. And if the problem is from the management, this is something bit hard because this is beyond our control as a UX design researcher. But as the business owner, as the CEO, I usually like deal this project with the leader as well in the company, and of course we have to try to explain and like at the positive and the negative side, and yeah, and I try to solve from there. So it's more on a business side rather than the UX side, and having the good result actually help them to see things properly, because sometimes like if you do not communicate well, like there is a gap between the result of the UX research and as the needs for the business. And then also, what type of usability testing have you ever conducted? I conducted all types of UX usability testing. I have conducted the face-to-face usability testing, and I have conducted the cognitive walkthrough usability testing. I have conducted remote testing. I have conducted online testing as well. So yeah, different kind of testing depending on the needs and situation. So I think there's also a question from I hope I answered your question, like Ibu Nina. If you have any further question, yeah, please write down there. Also, question here from Louis: how long does it take to learn UX, and was there any certain difficulty when it comes to learning UX? Of course, I'm still learning UX at the moment, Stephen. For 20 years, it's always new thing. So our my certification that our company my company have is actually only the expiry date is 1 year. Why is it? Because UX is growing so quickly, and especially right now that we have a lot of new technology and new interaction. Like it's completely different. You can't use the same method for all. So it's a long life learnings, as I said before. In my company, values. So if you want to go to UX, you really need to be able to have the spirit of lifelong learning, and a humility to learn continuously about this area. And oh, great. Thank you, Punina. Yeah. Should I just answer Ibu
I think I
Kristiani?
need to interrupt
Okay, yeah,
before
sure.
we continue the question and answer session, Bapak Ibu. So while we are enjoying the Q&A, the exit ticket, this one. So please access the following link as shown on your screen about the exit ticket. Go to bit.ly/exit webinar 6 and fill out the following forms. And then later, as I mentioned earlier, that this exit ticket will help us in generating all of your certificate and All of the certificates will be generated and automatically sent to your email address. But please make sure that you fill in the forms accordingly and appropriately, and make sure that there is no mistake in typing your names, especially your email address as well. So I would like to share this link on the group chat, and we would like to continue the Q&A session. So Ibu Eunice, are you ready for the next question from, yeah, previously it was from
I can't hear you, Artia. So, is it question from Ibu Listiani here?
two questions, Bu Eunice.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, you did a lot of ethnography research. You stay with the community that you research on. I do always welcome you and your ethnography research. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's a good question, Bo. Yes, I stay in the community, but it really depends on the will depend on the project. Yeah, so the length of the study in the area is usually like I stay there and I have a live-in as well. Sometimes like if it is allowed, and the people. There is always like the need to have the people actually dealing with the community leaders so they can accept you. And especially if you're coming with the government, somebody needs to like talk with them beforehand before you come to the community, because sometimes it can be an intrusion for you to stay and then to watch what they're doing. And sometimes most of the time like in the beginning like in Indonesia usually like people are very friendly, they don't have a problem much, but as you are in the community for a certain period of time and you started to talk about difficult stuff that this community is struggling, sometimes like some people they you know like they do not want to participate, or they sometimes like some people they engage more. So it's really really the things that as they comes, but as the ethnographers you really need to see the situation and being able to read the situation, and then make sure that you do not disrupt the community, and making sure that you still have your etiquette in communication. It's okay to get them, to have them rejected you, but you still have to be really, really nice with them, and then trying to be more empathetic in how you're dealing with them. So that's why before you do the ethnography study, we usually like do a lot of research in advance, trying to understand the community, and then trying to find the community leaders to make sure that we got the support. Does UX Indonesia also deal with the community service, or in BI we say pengabdian masyarakat? Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. When we can, yes, of course, we do community service. As I said before, we organize a lot of community activities. And for example, every year when before COVID, we actually do like every year we go to like undergraduate. So for example, and I'm trying to apply UX for improving their life. So for example, 3 years ago, we went to the community where there is a group of people it's the wife of the farmer from the remote areas, and they actually have their own business of selling stuff, whatever they find, whatever they create from the village, and then it's like our work is like to actually work with them and trying to discuss with them what problems they have and how we can help them to solve using the UX framework. And then the year after that, we went to Gangdoli. Actually, we talked with the business that was left after prostitution was stopped, and we also do the year after we came to the elderly care, trying to see what is the problem they have, and then trying to help them to improve uh, their their situation. So those are three of out of many things that we have done in terms of community service. So yeah, hope I answer your question. Thank you, Kristiani.
Okay, thank you, Feliciani. Before we end our
Uh, Pak Wawan, can I ask
and
one
I
more
would
question,
like to
please?
invite all
Yes, you just ask your question, Rudy. I think I can't
still
hear him as
have
well. What is your question?
questions.
Okay.
So
Okay, Pak Wawan, can I just ask questions?
yes, Pak Rudy, please.
Hello, Bu Eunice.
Hello, Rudy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. My question is actually related to Pak Agus' comment in the beginning. It seems like Pak Agus and Bu Eunice agree on how language support technology design. So it's about the usability of language in technology design, and seems like it's a language as a tool, which is interesting actually. But my comment on that, my question on that is like, is there a reverse influence? So it's not only that language supports technology design, but is there a possibility that technology design also influence language behavior? Because maybe if we think it that way, then we can help how students also learn a language. Take for example, like the design of, let's say, television TVRI in Indonesia. The purpose of that technology design, the broadcasting design of TVRI in Indonesia, is to help people in Indonesia to get to know Indonesian language. And then the effect of that is bahasa Indonesia becomes widely spread, and then some language, local language lost because of that. And also in the US, for example, some remote area, people who live in the remote area, they cannot blend with the US culture because they don't speak English well. So to help them to use and know and learn English, they design what do you call that, a highway that connect the city to that remote place, so that they have access to the city to know and learn the language. That means technology design also actually affect language behavior. So in your experience as a UX activists, let's say UX activists, have you experienced this kind of phenomenon, like your work also affect language behavior of the people? Okay, things like that. Thank you, Bu Eunice.
Okay, Rudy, I think I agree with you. It works both ways. So actually, like when I started my like my work in UX. It started when I see how technology affect how the design for the teaching and learning. Like remember my story about the Japanese students, right? They did not talk in the classroom, right? So the professor introduced the use of the chatting, like instant messaging, and then the professor actually developed activities based on that, around that, and it's actually changed the way people behave, the way people interact, the way the dynamic of the classroom as well. So that is very very important, and that is I think that's the example of the other way around, that I think, if I understand your question correctly, because it was I observed when people starting to chat on the MIRC, like they started to build kind of like a trust and kind of a new dynamic that actually they bring back. Like when they come to the classroom, they started to talk. Well, in the beginning, they did not talk. They did not want to, like connect to each other. But the language actually changed this classroom behavior. And yeah, so uh, it works both ways.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
Okay. Um, okay. Sorry. My my internet connection was
Sorry, Abiasa, I cannot hear anything from your side.
Sorry for
Wawan connection is very very bad. Wawan, we cannot hear what you just said.
yes.
Bu Francis,
By the way, thank you Pak Christian Rudianto for addressing.
Okay, I think I'm gonna take over. But Wawan, your internet is not clear. Can you hear me? Pak Tawan, can you hear me?
bisa ulang? Oh bisa.
Okay. All right, everyone. I'm gonna take over for Rawan because apparently his connection is not very good at the moment. So I would like to thank everyone here for coming on behalf of the PBI UKSW to join our webinar this afternoon. And also, of course, thank you to Dr. Eunice for sharing her experience, her stories, and also those who ask questions. For those who are asking about the presence for the attendance list, the link is available in the chat room as well. You can copy, and also it is available now on the screen. And we would like to invite you to join other online events at PBI UKSW, where we have roundtable discussions tomorrow with Justinus Calvin Gaimaldi, who will talk about podcasting. And myself next week is going to talk about teaching speaking online. Again, thank you very much for those who are joining us this afternoon in the middle of your long weekend here in Indonesia. Eunice, we have a long weekend here. I would like to invite everyone, please give Ibu Eunice, Dr. Eunice Sari a clap so that we can conclude this session of PBI webinar series. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pak Agus. Thank you, Ibu Liz, and all of you who participated in asking questions.
Thank
For further
you for having me.
information. Okay, sure. Pak Wawan is sharing a slide now for the roundtable discussion poster. Tomorrow morning, you can register through the link is, let me check the link. You can go to our website and you can register through all of our webinar series there. Once again, the exit ticket for participants who need a certificate, please please click on the link provided in the chat. And also I'm sharing now the link for you to join our roundtable discussions. We have several sessions remaining in the semester, and you can check them all on that link. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice weekend and hope to see you in our future events. Thank you, Dr. Eunice Sari. Take
Thank you,
care.
Francis. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry.
Okay.
Where are you now, one? On top of a tree?
Yeah. Yeah.
According to Nanny, panjat.
Hi, Nanny.
Lanjut.
Kebiasaan mesti manjat kelapa dulu sih. Anyway, still recorded. You guys need to stop the recording, huh?